I open my phone 30, maybe 40 times a day to pay something. Auto, so tea shop, electricity bill, my daughter's school fees. Sometimes it would be 10 rupees, sometimes it would be 50,000 rupees. And every single time I'm using one of these three apps, PhonePe, GPay, or Paytm. I have been a UX designer for 25 plus years. I built one of India's first prepaid card systems. I worked with Axis, HDFC, almost every bank in this country. So when I open these apps, I'm not just paying, I'm reading them, studying them, judging them. So, and today I am going to give you my honest review. So, no sponsorships, no 10 features you didn't know kind of a video, just one designer telling you what is working, what is broken, and what each app is actually trying to do. So, let's get started. Section 1, why this matters. So before I tear into these apps, you need to understand something. These three apps are not the same. They look similar, blue color or green color or purple color. They all have QR codes. They all do UPI. But underneath, each one has a completely different DNA, a different soul, a different reason for existing. And once you see that, you will never look at these apps the same way. So you will also understand why GPay feels so clean, but Paytm feels like a vegetable market. Why PhonePe is everywhere, but you can't tell what is actually for. Why one app makes you feel calm and the other makes you feel like you missed a coupon. So this is what UX is. Not colors, not buttons, intention. So let me take you back. So because to understand the present, you have to understand how we got here. Section 2, a quick history of digital payments in India. India's digital payment story doesn't start in the year 2016 with the demonetization. It starts much earlier. So HSBC Bank, they set up their first ATM in India, which is in Mumbai. So that was the beginning. Plastic money card swipes. For the first time, an Indian could withdraw the cash without standing in a bank queue. But honestly, nothing big happened for the next 10 to 15 years. So ATMs were still very rare. Most people, they didn't have the cards. The real action started between the year 2000 to 2010. That decade was a roller coaster for an Indian fintech. On one side, debit cards, credit cards, prepaid cards started becoming common. So I was working on those exact products in those years. So I saw it from the inside. So on the other side, the telecom boom. Smartphones came in and the Indians very quickly become a mobile first country. So we skipped the desktop generation. We went straight from no internet to phone internet. So now here is the problem nobody talks about. So even with all this technology, paying a simple bill in India was painful. So you wanted to pay your phone bill, go to the telephone exchange, standing in the queue. So you have to do for 20 to 30 minutes wait. Sometimes it will more than that. So electricity bill, same thing. So it's a different counter. Send money to your friend. So you have to register their bank account, filling an NEFT form and wait. Sometimes it took a full day. So this is where Paytm entered. So Vijay Shekhar Sharma. So he started as a mobile recharge app. So then in 2014, they got an RBI license. So what is called a semi-closed prepaid payment instrument license. So it's called PPI. So basically RBI said, okay, you can run a digital wallet. So people can able to load money into your wallet and pay the merchants from there. So that was a huge. So suddenly you could load 500 rupees into Paytm and you can start paying your DTH, your mobile phone, your electricity bill, all from your phone. No queue, no exchange. For most Indians, that was the first time the phone became a wallet. So I'll tell you a small personal story here. When Paytm launched, I set it up on my dad's phone. I showed him load 500 rupees, pay your mobile bill, done. No queue, no exchange. So he was thrilled. So for the first time, he didn't have to leave the house to pay the bill. So he's still using Paytm for utility bills today. So that is how strong first impression UX is. So you build a habit once, it lasts a decade. So remember that we will come back to this story. So then 2016 happened, demonetization. So overnight, 86% of the cash disappeared. So ATMs had a week long queues and Paytm got a 40 million new users in a few weeks. So from a niche app to a national habit, just like that. But the real game changer was something the government built, something most of you use every day without thinking about it. UPI, Unified Payments Interface, built by NPCI. So that is a National Payments Corporations of India set up by RBI. So UPI launched in 2016 and it changed everything. So before UPI, you needed wallets, you had to load money. So Paytm sat in the middle. So after UPI, you didn't. So money moved directly from your bank to my bank. So instantly. So free. 24/7. So PhonePe had launched in the year 2015 December, owned by Flipkart at that time. So they jumped on UPI in August 2016. So partnered with Yes Bank. Google entered in September 2017. They launched an app called Taze. So Indian first product UPI only. So in 2018 they renamed it to Google Pay. And just like that, the three giants were on the field. Now let's talk about the design. Section 3, the fundamental difference nobody tells you. So here is what most people they missed. These three apps look like competitors, but they are not. So they are three completely different products that happen to do payments. So let me explain. So Paytm is a wallet first, always was. The whole product was built around that idea that you load money into Paytm account and pay things from there. So UPI came later, they bolted it on. So, but the wallet is in their DNA. So that is why even today, when you open Paytm, you see 10 different things: wallet, balance, UPI, recharge, ticket booking, gold insurance, mutual funds, loans, shopping, whatnot. So it is a super app. So inspired honestly by PayPal in the early days and later WeChat from China. So Paytm wants to be everything. So GPay is a payment pipe. So that is a whole product. So you can open GPay, send money, done. No wallet, no load, add balance, no let me show you 17 services. It is UPI and only UPI. So Google's design DNA, the same DNA you see in their search in Gmail, is remove everything that is not the job. So clean, quiet, frictionless. The first time I used GPay, my reaction was finally somebody understood. PhonePe is somewhere in between. It started as a UPI app, but it slowly became Paytm version 2.0. They want to be the super app, but they came in clean. So today, PhonePe also does insurance, mutual funds, ticket booking, gold, etc., etc., etc. So the interface is louder than GPay, calmer than Paytm. You are not comparing the three apps. You are comparing the three philosophies. So Paytm, the maximalist. So Indian shopkeeper energy, everything on display. GPay, the minimalist, Western clean, just to one thing. PhonePe, the middle part. So the local, functional, slowly expanding. So now you know why they feel different. Let's go deeper. Section 4, the UX teardown. Paytm, the Indian Bazaar. So look at this home screen. I count 1, 2, 3, more than 15 times before I even scroll. Wallet, UPI, recharges, bills, FASTag, metro, bus, train, flights, hotels, gold, mutual funds, credit card, postpaid, EMI, insurance, donations. From a UX standpoint, this is cognitive overload. So Hicks law tells us very simply, the more options you give a user, the slower they decide. And on a payment app where I am in a hurry to send money to the auto driver, I don't want to read all these 15 tiles. But, and this is important, Paytm's user base is not designed for a clean minimalism. So Paytm grew up serving every kind of Indian. So the Kirana shop owner, the 50-year-old uncle who pays his electricity bill once in a month, the college student recharging Geo. So for these users, seeing the option matters. If they don't see it, they won't trust that it exists. So Paytm is doing something interesting. It's discovery first design. Show everything, let the user pick. So it is loud, but it's loud on purpose. The good. Power users love it. So want to invest in mutual funds, pay your credit card bill and book a flight. So all in one single app. Paytm wins. The bad. First time users, they feel lost. So the hierarchy is weak. Everything looks equally important. So which means nothing looks important. So and the wallet with UPI, confusion still trips the people up. So people don't know if their money went from wallet or from bank. the ugly. So after the RBI action on Paytm payments back in 2024, which the RBI fully cancelled in April 2026, there is a trust hangover. So UX is also about trust signals, and right now that signal is shaky. So my designer score 6 out of 10. Functionally rich, visually exhausted. Google Pay, the quiet designer. So now look at this, a search bar at the top, a list of recent contacts. So 3 or 4 icons at the bottom. So that's it. So this is what 25 years of design discipline looks like. So every element is doing one job. So there is no tile competing for your attention. The color palette is restrained, white, blue, soft grays. Notice something? So GPay's home screen looks almost exactly like the Google search. That is not an accident. Google has a design language that runs across every product they build. So when you open GPay, your brain says, I know this. I trust this, even if you have never used it before. So this is what we call design transfer. So when users carry trust from one product to another because the design DNA is consistent. So Apple does it brilliantly. So Google does it brilliantly. So Indian companies, most of them not yet. The good. The fastest send money to friend experience among the three. So you just type the name, hit the send, done. The reward system, the scratch card thing. So it was a master class in the habit design. Variable rewards, same psychology as a slot machine used for good. So it's the reason GPay went from 0 to 35% UPI market share in 2 to 3 years. So I'll be honest with you, I personally use GPay for my day-to-day payments. And there is a reason for that. So in the early 2010s, I was in Dubai. I actually built an e-wallet for an international company. So I was already fascinated by the digital payments long before they become mainstream in India. So when Paytm launched, I was an early user. I loved it, set it up for my whole family. So but the moment GPay entered, I switched. Not because of Paytm become bad, because GPay was clean. So it respected my time, my eyes, my attention. So as a designer, I could feel the discipline behind every screen. So now here is where my dad comes back into the picture. So I tried to switch him to GPay, same way I switched myself, but he couldn't do it. So not because he's not a tech savvy, he is actually, but because in his mind, GPay didn't feel like a bill payment app. So the discovery was too quiet. So he kept asking me, so where is the electricity bill? So where is the gas bill? Yes, the option exists in GPay, but it's buried. So for a 65-year-old who learned the Paytm first, GPay felt empty. So you know what he does today? So he uses the both apps. So he used Paytm for utility bills, GPay for sending money to people. Two apps, two jobs, two muscle memories. So this is a profound UX lesson. So users don't switch apps, they layer them. The one who taught you first owns that behavior forever. The bad bill payments are buried. So customer support is almost invisible. So try finding a human at GPay, you can't. And because everything is so minimal, new users sometimes don't know what GPay can do. So discovery is weak. So my dad is exactly that kind of a user. The ugly. And this is a part I want you to think about carefully. So Google has all our financial behavior data, every transaction, every merchant, every UPI ID you ever paid, where you eat, what you spend on, when you tip, and how much. They don't use it for ads. And to be fair, that is their public position. But they do use it for personalization, fraud modeling, and product features. And once data exists, it can be used it in ways the company didn't originally plan. So now think about this. Paytm is an Indian company. PhonePe is now an Indian company, but GPay's parent is in California. So your Indian financial behavior is being processed somewhere far from Indian regulatory reach. So this is why I sometimes use my bank's own UPI app, not GPay. So not PhonePe, not Paytm. So direct from HDFC or SBI or Axis. So because at least the data stays inside the bank. But this is also very important. Using your bank's mobile banking app is not the same as using your UPI. So mobile banking is a different beast, slower, older, heavier. So UPI is meant to feel light and instant. So most of us don't use bank UPI apps for daily payments, even though we probably should. So I think this will improve. So we will see better Indian alternatives, better privacy controls, maybe even RBI mandated data localization for these apps. So the next decade of fintech UX will be about trust by design, not just speed. So my designer scored 8.5 out of 10. Beautiful, restrained, but cold sometimes. And the data question stays in my mind. PhonePe, the confused middle child. Yeah, PhonePe is interesting because it is trained. So open the home screen. The top section is clean. Send money, scan, recent contacts. So just like a GPay, then you scroll down and boom, tiles. So mutual funds, insurance, gold, recharges, just like a Paytm. So PhonePe has the GPay top off and the Paytm bottom off. And from a UX perspective, this is a toughest job. Hybrid products are hard to design well. You have to keep both audiences happy without losing the identity. So, how do they do it? Honestly, okay. So, not great, not bad. The good. Voice notifications. So, that little speaker that says 50 rupees received from Ramesh. So, beautiful piece of a design for a country where 60% of small merchants can't read their phone properly while running a shop. Same functionality available in Paytm also. So it solved a real Indian problem with one future UX gold. So the QR code experience is also tight. So faster scan to pay than the other two in my testing. So the bad, the visual hierarchy is mixed. So too much purple. So too many subcategories. The bottom navigation tries to do too many things. So payments, insurance, stocks, shopping. So all in one tab strip. The ugly PhonePe is becoming a super app and they haven't decided who they are. So they want to be GPay's clean cousin and the Paytm's all in one. But you can't be both. So eventually they will have to pick. So my designer score 7.5 out of 10. So they have the strong fundamentals, identity crisis. Section 5, who wins and for whom. So here is my final verdict and I will be honest with you. So there is no single winner because the question is wrong. The right question is, who are you? If you just want to pay people fast and forget about it, use GPay, hands down. So the cleanest experience, the least friction, the most disciplined design. So if you live your full financial life on your phone, investment, insurance, book flights, pay bills, buy gold, Paytm or PhonePe. So between the two, I'll pick PhonePe today. So they have the better UX hierarchy, less RBI baggage. So if you are a small merchant in tier 2 or tier 3 in India, PhonePe. So the voice notification alone is worth it. So if you are a UX student watching this video, download all the three apps. So open them side by side, take a screenshot of each home screen. So take a printout, stick it into your wall and ask yourself, what is each app trying to make me do in first 3 seconds? So that question will teach you more about UX than any course, including mine. Section 6, the bigger lesson. So I want to leave you with one single thought when I look at PhonePe, GPay and Paytm. I don't just see these three apps, I see the evolution of Indian design thinking. So 10 years ago, our apps copied the West but badly. So cluttered, over-designed, loud. So today, GPay is a Western app inside India, but Paytm and PhonePe are something new. So they have built for Indian behavior, the voice notification, so the 22 languages, the merchant tiles, the gold investment under 100 rupees. So none of that exists in American payment apps. So we are slowly building our own design language, Indian UX, not a copy. Not a minimalism for the sake of minimalism, something that fits how Indians actually use their phones. That excites me. So, because the next decade of UX is in India, it's not going to be about prettier buttons. It is going to be about better understanding of who the user is. So, if you want to be part of that, that is exactly what we teach at Aspira Design. So real UX, real product thinking, real Indian context. 4 months of intensive UX UI training, 2 months of mentor support and 3 days of career intensive. It includes personal branding, ATS resume, portfolio, story crafting, the works. So not a theory, not Western templates, the way I learned it and the way I have taught 4,600 plus students so far. And let me show you a quick example. One of our students, Mojo Bindra, did her case study on exactly this topic. She built an e-wallet and a finance management app called CoinNext. So full UX UI case study published on Behance. So that kind of work where you can see the user research, the wireframes, the design decisions, all the way to the final UI. So that is the level we train our students. So I'll drop the links to her case study in the description. So go and check it out. So that is the kind of portfolio every UX designer in India should be building. If that sounds like your kind of a journey, the link is in the description. Or just DM me on Instagram or LinkedIn. So I read every message. That's it from me today. So if you like this teardown, hit subscribe. So I'm going to do more of this. So I'm going to do it for a Zepto with Blinkit next. Then the banking apps, something like a HDFC West, ICICI West, Axis. So you will like that one. So and tell me in the comments which payment app do you use and why. I read every comment. So my dad still uses the Paytm to pay his bills, and every time I see him do it, I remember UX is not about the minimalism or maximalism. So it is about meeting people where they are. So until next time, keep designing, keep thinking, and keep questioning every screen you tap. Once again, I'm Rambal. I'll catch you soon with another meaningful topic. Until then, bye bye.